What now?
Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
Hey everyone, I'm Jonny.
Hi folks, my name's Sam.
And I'm Tim. This is the first episode of The Shop Floor. Welcome everybody. The shop floor.
I felt like we should have paused there for some sort of applause.
The shop floor. So what about Sweden?
Sweden and the States. For me, I mean, obviously they're very good at what they do. You know, I'm not taking anything away from that.
They're very good at being Swedish,
but
being American.
Swedish.
I think there's a lot to be said. I think personally on phonetic production, where they produce their sound, even just talking. So the English that the Swedish people speak is more pointy, and if you listen to Americans when they're talking, it's all forward placement.
Yeah. You hear people say that a lot, that that they kind of all talk like here, so it's kind of just naturally
forward
in this place to
yeah.
go ah.
Yeah.
My.
So is that not like a bit of a knee up on where they are initially anyway, and then everything else, the technical ability and the learning and the education just aids that.
There could be some of it. I'll always remember Duncan Yates saying that there was a big thing about that, about the way you talk is going to affect the way you sing and that kind of thing. You have to remember that we are talking about maybe only 2 or 3 Swedish groups that have had international success.
Yeah.
Compared to the UK, and that there are other groups in Sweden that aren't as successful as Groninger and 08 and the Entertainment, groups like that, and Stockholm City Voices. Mm-hmm. It could be to do something with that. I was wondering if it was to do with time, because VHS has been a society for nearly 80 years, and we've only been a society
82 years.
for like nearly 50, right?
Right.
So I thought maybe it's just
30 years advanced.
I thought this was stupid. I thought maybe we've just not had enough time to get good. Then I thought, well, no, it was groups in the 60s in the VHS.
Obviously they're going to be 50ths as good as we are, because they've been around for that much longer.
But then I thought, well, no, hang on, because Snobs isn't 50.
Snobs is I think he's younger.
Snobs
than
is quite young, so they've done it in time.
Yeah, and the Buffalo Bills and the Suntones existed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just. I think it's part of the culture, isn't it? Like these things can be self-propagating.
Well, maybe you're right,
if you have a bunch of people who are really good at something, people can get inspired and coached by them, and it just propagates. I think the reason probably why the States has a leg up in Barbershop is because that's where Barbershop started, and that's where.
And there's your culture as well. The 80 years and and we saw just how well they were doing, and how it began here. But yeah, we're never ever going to be at the same kind of historic level as they are.
I didn't say that, Jonny.
Don't say that, John. End of bags.
That's too hard hitting, too punchy.
That's way too hard hitting. Let's give up. I think if you think about choruses as well, I don't know if this is true or not, but
so do you actually think that we'll have a sorry?
We'll never know.
An English. Do you ever think we're going to have a British chorus that is ever going to kind of hit like 90s?
I think
in this country and then the States.
I think but I think the big difference is often in this country choruses are formed in smaller places, right?
Yeah,
and there's more of them. So like. There's a chorus in Sheffield, but Sheffield has a much smaller population than
Dallas,
Texas, or Dallas, yeah. So there's more than one chorus in Dallas, I think.
There are, but I mean, yeah, like if you look at the northwest of England, you've got a bunch of pretty good choruses. You've got Cotton Town, you've got Hallmark, you've got Spirit of Harmony, kind of all like in that they're not the northwest, but like in the kind of Yorkshire area.
Through the middle.
And they're all quite close.
They're all kind of like at the low A level, and that space of land, would I think probably only ever be occupied by one chorus in America. That would be your Ambassadors or your Masters of Harmony.
It feels like people travel a lot further.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
the States for chorus.
I mean,
people fly to.
I mean, they travel a lot further
you hear about people.
they travel a lot further for everything in America. It's just it's a much bigger country.
Everything's more spread out.
Yeah.
So if the UK had 4 choruses,
that's what we need. We need more land. We need
we need to spread out.
we need to start
I mean, Texas.
taking more land as a
said
country.
Texas, and Texas is, it says here, 2.8 times bigger than the UK.
Yeah, and they probably have less choruses than we do.
Yeah.
What do you think?
But-
the,
but
whole,
I-
the whole of Texas?
Oh yeah,
Are you-
definitely.
So are you suggesting, Sam, that if say that middle bank of choruses was one chorus?
I think probably it would be, well, I mean, either you'd have a chorus that was enormous, or you'd have a chorus of the same size that was probably more selective and had a higher concentration of, doers and people with a lot of skill and a lot of talent.
You have to think if everything started again and there was only 4 choruses and there wasn't a single member, and then somebody like made that chorus and then did the normal audition processes that we all do for our own choruses, it would probably end up capping at like 100 people, but it would be a different selection of people, and they'd be from further away, and you'd probably have more musical input than most choruses now get. I think normally you only have 1 or 2 kind of musical leaders in each chorus. We're very lucky we have a few, but they come from other cities, right? Like one of our assistant directors lives in Stockport, so
Yeah,
It's interesting.
and Stockport to Sheffield, if you were in the States, isn't.
It's nothing.
It's like just
An hour's drive.
an hour and a bit.
So,
nothing.
so coming back then, with that core of middle, bearing in mind that you could probably have Grand Central
Yeah, bring Grand Central up as well.
in there, and Major Oak, and
There's
there's
loads,
loads through that middle bank
Derby,
of
Major
yeah.
Oak.
So you'd have to have some sort of, you'd have to have vetting. You'd have to have it in where you would have all of the kind of to be able to get in to sing into this chorus, you'd have to be hitting something.
It would be more selective,
Yeah.
Because if you
But that's if
With
it
that in
started.
mind-
That's if it started now, right? If you started
With
this hybrid chorus,
Yeah.
that would be different to if Babs just
But-
started with only 4 choruses. Do you know what I mean? Like,
But my question would be, well, there's 2 questions. Sorry. One, would it hit the relevant 90s and compete with the best in America?
well,
Unknown. And 2, would we actually get in?
would we get in?
Would we get in?
I
don't know.
wouldn't.
I'm not sure I would be there.
Okay.
And where would it be based? That's another question.
Scarborough.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my first convention. Thanks for it. What a seamless link there, Tim.
I mean, who can say whether a course like that would, achieve 90? Like, it would take time and any capacity. I think, I think it's very rare that a chorus comes out at that level at formation, because you need time to
Yeah.
develop leadership and a culture and coaching and.
We certainly have groups. We've seen new groups appear in the last few years who have started and are singing A-level stuff.
Like Meantime, Mailbox.
Meantime, Mailbox.
Are both kind of again at the low A level, I would say.
Yeah, and they've just started. So,
Meantime, are quite a young chorus, aren't they? Average
Yeah,
age,
they are.
kind of young chorus.
They have a
Do you
young
think there's a lot to
demographic.
be said in that as well?
it
The
depends.
youthful sound.
Not
over
necessarily.
The kind
I
of,
think because there are a lot of youth choirs who aren't very good. Like, being young doesn't mean you're a good singer. Being a musician means you're a good singer, and certainly helps. I think Meantime happened to be a young chorus, but also happened to have a lot of musicians in the chorus. A lot of talented members.
Do you think it's because the younger people who get into Barbershop are maybe getting into it for different reasons than people did 30, 40 years ago, and they're more likely to have a musical background to begin with, rather than finding a new hobby in Barbershop?
Yeah, in my experience, most of the people that I know who are kind of our age getting into it, not your age, John, bloody hell,
burn.
they normally get into it from a musical path, and then they kind of become a bit obsessed with it because it's a bit geeky and a bit interesting.
Oh, they really do get so that. Yeah, like.
And when you become obsessed with Barbershop, you get quite good at it.
It's true.
Yeah. I would totally agree with you there, Tim. I mean, like, I haven't got any particular musical background as such. But
What's that on your wall, Jonny?
these are just some
Pictures.
these are just some
Paintings.
awards that I've received over the years. This
Some
is the
awards my wife was in.
balloon d'or, and so yeah. I mean, I've had guitars in my life for a while, but I don't profess to be someone who could pick up and play, even though I could probably do a little bit. I can't really.
Musical background. He used to be a DJ.
Exactly.
Right.
You have been a professional musician.
Yeah.
What?
That's
Really? Is
That's
what
more than me and
would
Tim.
you say that? Would you say that? I mean, I
Of a kind.
yeah.
Musician of a kind.
And
Different to Barbershop, but
karaoke is
a
obviously.
DJ is definitely a
Yeah,
musician.
we don't know anything about DJing, so we can't say it's not.
Maybe that's what this podcast should be.
The DJ floor.
The DJ floor.
The dance floor.
Oh, that's even better.
Oh,
Oh, start again.
Who came up with it? But
we could be learning a lot of stuff here about DJing.
but Barbershop has opened a new world of things for me, and I think that's been really the probably the most exciting journey. The whole kind of standing up and singing for a room of people. I know the other night I did Frank Sinatra, but I wouldn't have done things like that back in the day. When I first set out in the kind of the karaoke world, and I mentioned it the other night about there were some really hard pubs that you had to play for, and of course as a karaoke you've got to warm the crowd up a little bit, juice the crowd a little bit with a few songs and think, oh, I could do that, and then of course as the spirits flow they get up and sing. But having to do that to an audience that were cold because they'd done it. It was the beginning of the night.
Because it was the North
Right.
in the 90s.
Yeah, it was
No one had
North,
any
yeah.
50p's for the boiler.
But there was some interesting stories. I wouldn't start to talk about them on here, but there was some very interesting stories. But yeah, it certainly has opened a whole new world of entertainment for me.
You see, I've been in Barbershop now for getting on for 10 years, and I think I'd struggle to do that, to like sing a naked solo in front of a crowd who I didn't know in a pub. I think
But
I'd
yeah,
feel
you've
very
done it
weird
on.
doing
You did it in the European.
Yeah, but I didn't really. Yeah,
That's singing for barbershop.
Yeah,
you know that. You hope they're gonna like it.
yeah, and I don't even like doing that very much. To be honest.
You can't tell from your performance.
I always say, Sam, we're gonna do Nearer tonight.
And I go,
And he goes, do we have to?
And I go,
Oh, yeah. And a little bit of you dies inside.
Yeah. I say we're doing Nearer on the Saturday show, and he goes, oh, that's it, early bedtime for me on Friday. He takes it very seriously, that sort.
Yeah.
Loves it.
It's good. I like it.
What were you saying about learning things from music? Sorry to interrupt you. I think barbershop is a really good avenue as a genre to learn stuff about music because
certainly different certain bits of music.
yeah, because you're just singing and it's very basic in a way. It's just 4 parts. You can learn a lot of stuff about how chords work and singing and a lot of people are looking at music. Whereas if you're in a band, you're probably not looking at music. So there's opportunities to learn a lot about music in barbershop.
Like as a genre that doesn't have a lot of variety in, say, timbre or texture, because as you said, it's just 4 voices, nothing else, and it's mainly just it's predominantly block chords. What else is there to focus on apart from the chords and the melody? So it's I think I agree. I think it's a brilliant avenue for getting to learn about harmony and about how chords are built and how that whole side of music theory works. And that tends to be the part of music that people in barbershop get really geeky about.
So if you get geeky about chords and how they tune, it helps.
And just about music theory and stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to mention as well was the step to Hallmark from Spirit for me. The journey almost came to an end, and honestly, if it hadn't have been for a chat with you, Tim, I think I'd have
got libations.
there was a few in the body already, but I think I was probably done
Yeah,
with
you
the
were
journey.
You were nearly giving up.
Yeah, I was kind of, and I think really moving to Hallmark and then just having my eyes opened wide on just where the education could take you was really cool as well. And I know this is maybe a bit of a fanfare for Hallmark, I suppose at the moment, but it was good. It was really good, and I think again coming back to where I've come from journey-wise in music to where I am today, I feel a lot more confident about things. Playing guitar or ukulele or
That's because I taught
singing.
you how to play the ukulele.
Yes.
Oh, that's really nice.
It was, the first thing I did in lockdown was pick up the guitar, and then the second thing I did was start learning how to play my ukulele.
Woo!
Whoop whoop. Shameless plug there for the ukulele for
Ukulele every
beginners
Sunday.
Facebook page.
Ukulele for beginners every Sunday.
I think the first thing I did was buy tinned soup.
You bought supplies
Yeah.
for the bunker. Just hang on 1 second. Anna! What did she want?
Okay.
We're back. I thought it was a problem.
Yeah. I'm sorry, like, while you were kind of bearing your soul for
Yeah,
a second,
quite an emotional speech. We
just
just kept going.
because the door just very slowly opened
Just a minute,
and then
John.
very slowly closed.
Hannah! Hannah! Bring the tissues!
Hannah, he didn't say a word about you.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll just show your video during that bit. Not us good.
Yeah.
So you talk about how much you've learned from joining Hallmark, but I think we've all been the same because I think it's all down to some really good education that we've had in the last 2-3 years at Hallmark from external coaches. So we've had Rob Mance, Jordan Travis, Jonny Maroney, and in the last 3 years, our music team has learned absolutely loads. And then it's really just in the last year that we've started effectively, educating the guys about that. So you'd have been a big part of learning the same stuff that everyone's been learning, really.
Yeah.
But it's been really exciting the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think that they're not necessarily things that are new in the world. It's not groundbreaking in general, but it's groundbreaking to us. It's new to us.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff.
So this whole thing about resonance matching and just explaining it in a different way, so that now we really understand it. What we call vowel enlightenment, vowel enlightenment,
vowel migration.
That's really changed our understanding of barbershop.
This might even tie into what you were saying earlier, Jonny, about a difference in phonation.
Mm-hmm.
It could be linked. Maybe instead of just rather than like a natural twang because of where you're born, it's the fact that they're using a different vowel choice because of vowel migration.
So
But Spirit, Sally used to do a lot on not wanting to sound Yorkshire. Certain words were probably more difficult than others, really.
Oh, yeah.
And then and you have a little joke and a pop at me being kind of northern and bacon butty.
I've never said that.
Like
Mate.
Come on, mate.
we definitely still have words like that in Hallmark where it comes out and we go, oh, that sounds like exactly what it is. Sounds like
Look.
60 Yorkshiremen.
We couldn't sing good look charm, could we? Good look.
Yeah, it's very similar. Like say mate again.
Mate.
That is probably closer to how that word would have been pronounced during the Middle Ages. Because
What? What did you just say?
It said you're old again.
Did you say I'm middle-aged?
I'm a bit pissed off with all this coffee, by the way. Sorry, carry on.
Because there was an event in England, I guess the UK in general maybe.
Johnny's
1066.
1066. It was called the Great Vowel Shift.
Oh.
The Great Vowel Shift.
I read earlier.
And
Oh, you said vowel, sorry.
too hard hitting, too punchy.
Too hard hitting.
But it kind of over like the 14th, 15th, 16th century, loads of the major vowel sounds that people used, they just the way vowels are pronounced in certain words just changed very gradually over a few centuries. Like the word meat. The word meat as in M-E-A-T and the word meat as in M-E-E-T. Nowadays we pronounce them the same, but they didn't used to be. The word meat as in M-E-A-T would have been pronounced more like mate.
Like you.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, because that EA sound was kind of more, I think, more air
You've
rather
just
than
opened
E.
up a whole world of
So what
confusion for
what
all
saying
relationships now.
People from Redcar, like Jonathan,
From The War of the Roses.
we just haven't quite evolved
Mate.
the same way as we have.
When I'm saying like you're alright mate, I'm actually saying you're alright meat.
You're calling someone a piece of brisket.
It's the same with the word like tea. You know, any word that has the spelling EA, but we pronounce the E, would have used to be pronounced more like air.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not a linguist or a historian, but this is my understanding
You know more than me and Jonny.
of the great vowel
I'm
shift.
trying to think of some barbershop songs that actually have meat in the.
Mate me in rose
time,
time, Rosie. Mate me in rose. You do really well at that. That's one of the first songs I ever learnt with the now called the White Rose Chorus. So it's the Big County Chorus.
Big
We
County
learned
Chorus.
Meet Me in Rose Time, Rosie. We sang it at a music festival somewhere and we won, and that was big shit then. It was a big deal. So I think what we've been learning about vowel modes and stuff, I always talk about like the acoustics. I think people grabbed onto the acoustics, and maybe people in this country are like,
acoustics.
maybe people in this country are like, oh, that kind of sound resonates with me. We're posh.
It rings.
It rings.
It really rings.
Let's try to do that. Like, oh,
My
and we
horizon
did
is
that for
turning
like
gray,
15 years.
and my dreams are drifting away.
It rings. I think we did that for 15 years. Everybody lost their voices because no one can really sing like that naturally. And now here we are trying to fix it.
There's your diagnostic.
That's it. We've sorted it.
You think that so you're actually holding the acoustics responsible?
I'm going to send
For-
an email
for-
after this
Dear,
to Jeff.
dear Mr. Middow,
Can we maybe explore the avenue of the visuals as well as phonetic production with acoustics in a certain era of our.
Well, yeah. How do you smile when you sing like that?
you don't.
You don't. That's why they always sang songs about saying goodbye
I'm
to
smiling.
their Irish mums. It was just so long. Every song was so long.
I love acoustics.
Good guys,
really.
by the way. Good guys.
They get
Yeah. Just we do like the acoustics.
Yeah, we love the
it's-
acoustics. Oh my god, they're
like,
amazing.
they were-
legends of our decades.
They were the
Your decades.
My decades.
yeah, they won before I was born.
My 5 decades.
I was one.
Yeah, you were one. they were the first barbershop quartet I ever heard. I was back when I didn't know what barbershop was, or I didn't know what it really was. I was 12 or 13. I was just kind of browsing on YouTube trying to find a piece of music, trying to find a piece of choral music because I sang in a choir at the time. I didn't know what barbershop was, and in the suggested videos tab, just caught my eye was Blue Horizon. I'm afraid the masquerade is over, and that was the first barbershop video I saw. It was the acoustics singing that, and I was done. I was hooked.
I was
straight away.
done. This is rubbish.
Put a fork in me.
Yeah.
I'm a piece of mate.
I'm a piece of mate.
Yeah, I do like the acoustics. There's one of my favourite recordings of all time, which I listened to just the other day, is actually on Toronto Northern Lights album, and I played it to you. I played this to Sam one time in the car, and he thought it was so good we missed an exit off the new tour. And it's Toronto Northern Lights. It's like the America / Canada. Just
medley.
Big old medley, like the Ode to Joy medley, and it's TNL and the acoustics, so it's not on any of the acoustics albums, it's on TNL's album, which is on Spotify, so you can find it, and it's pretty epic. and it hit the tag, and we had to go to the other side of Drumfield because Sam missed his exit.
Because I was trying like, wow, this is a great tag. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that movement's turn.
Sorry guys, that was so good. I missed the exit. Yeah, love the acoustics, but yeah, I think just that kind of, it is a darker sound.
It is.
And I think it took Babs a long time to get out of that. And actually I think people are having more success these days singing with a brighter
slightly
sound.
brighter sound, which is more like
because then if you go further back,
more like
more like the 50s, more like the 50s and 60s.
That's what I was thinking.
But then again, you come back to education and how many times you get coaches coaching choruses and saying sing brighter, and nobody knows what that means because everyone's going whoa, and so you go sing brighter and you go ah. So no one knew what that meant. Sing brighter and you go I'm trying. Whereas now we know what brighter and darker means, or at least I did. Maybe everybody knew, and it's taken me a while to catch up. But now we know. Now we can actually tell someone how to do it and show them how it works and show them what it means, and all of a sudden you're making more overtones and it sound good.
You fill up my senses.
I don't know.
Let's just sing that.
You fill up my senses. I'm the census taker.
Are there any other songs like that with funny things?
Oh, loads. Probably not broadcastable here.
Lay down this. No, it's lay down beside you and give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter and die. That's it.
Let me drown in your laughter and die.
In your arms.
Like my favourite was probably won't make it in, but my favourite one is
It's not South Rampart Street.
It is.
We
Yeah.
can't talk about that. I was also listening to Platinum the other day, actually. Bye Bye Blues.
One of the Platinum was one of the first quartets. Metropolis was the first quartet that I saw, American quartet that I saw.
Were they here?
In Scarborough,
Yeah.
that convention, and I don't know if you were around or if you've ever been, and it's never been back, which is a shame because it's a really, I think it just outgrew the size of the, so it could never go back. But that particular convention was great because it had two separate theatres, and they did the show back to back. So Metropolis finished, and we're going to take a short break. And after the break, how was it?
Was it real time?
It was real time, right?
Wasn't even there.
And I got up and left. Didn't watch real time, and because Metropolis had just blown me away, and I was like, that's everything that I want to do with Barbershop, comedy Barbershop, and I went and watched him in the other theatre again. Like, straight away. I was like, that was so funny. I think I was with a lad from Northern Accord. It might have been
Les.
No, it wasn't.
Swinny.
No, you're just going to go through the whole of the chords. Yeah, it was one of them ones where it was kind of like, do you want to? That was really good, wasn't it? Like, do you want to go and see him again? Like, we didn't really appreciate the fact that Real Time were about to hit the stage and they would have been amazing and sick and stuff.
Real who?
Yeah, and so we went and watched that, and then obviously I got to chatting to the guys. I think was it Kip? I want to say Kip, the guy
in Metropolis. You mean?
Yeah.
James Sabina was their tenor.
That's not Kip. Yeah, what am I thinking of?
It was also Kelly Shepherd. I think by that time.
Kelly was the baritone, wasn't he?
Bob Hartley.
Bob was the lead, wasn't he?
Bob
and Brian.
And Brian.
Brian was the bass, wasn't he?
And James was the tenor.
James. It was James I was talking to. I know he's no longer with us, and it's obviously very sad. But they were a fantastic quartet, brilliant, absolutely brilliant quartet. And I was talking to him. I said, because he kept doing the falls, like where they do all of they did literally all of that routine. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's a video out there where they're doing this show in America, and the theatre must bank right up because they're looking up into the gods where people are sat and things. and it's that routine that they did in Scarborough, and they had the blue jackets and the American flag tie, white trousers. You know, it was fantastic.
Iconic Metropolis gear.
And I was talking to James afterwards, and I said, "You hit the stage pretty hard, like a few times there. I mean, you know, it must have hurt." And he said, "Give us your hand," and he literally ran my hand up his forearm, and it was just bumps all over the place, like massive swelling and bruising on his arm, like, you know.
He went for it.
Yeah, he did, and I think that there's a lot to be said about like the kind of commitment levels, and that's something else that I've kind of seen, kind of coming to Hallmark. Really, it's another level of commitment.
It seems like lots of comedy quartets, like most of them seem to have one guy who's very good at falling over.
Yeah, because I can think of 3 big fallers. 3 big fall guys.
Barbershop's big fall guys.
Fall guys. There was James.
Yeah, James was.
Pookie from Fred.
And the baritone from Freestyle.
Yes.
His name I don't know.
And Andy.
Oh yeah, because they sing about him.
Was Pookie the tenor?
Pookie was the tenor.
He was, yeah.
James was the tenor.
He was. Maybe.
It's never the bass.
No.
Like, from the middle, just into the mic.
He's got too much to do.
Or just imagine like straight back.
Yeah.
It's usually a guy on the end, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Fred all fell down a couple of times.
They did. Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, they kind of lie down like deliberately.
They laid down for FRED Fred
to go like ta-da. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't say they fell over. They kind of just sat down.
Stormfront did a full fall at the end of. It was the year that they won. I can't remember, but they did a full fall. It might have been the Lyda Rose medley at the end.
Yeah, they did.
They all just
they did.
All collapsed.
Yeah.
So they probably win.
Yeah.
As far as fall guys.
You know,
if you all go for it.
In competition.
We're talking about Andy from Freestyle, who used to do all sorts of stuff. Like I always remember that one act they did where he was a dummy. Like they
pull him out of the chest.
Yeah. Like they did a parody called "Nobody Loves You Better Than Your DUMMY." It's a parody of a song which you would not sing nowadays. But the parody is very funny, and like he's like a ventriloquist dummy, and like he's made up to. He's got sort of arms on poles and strings, and he starts and ends the set in like a cramped up in a wooden chest.
Yeah.
And then they there's it's like at the end of the song, they do a tag, and like they get to a sort of fake last chord, and then the 3 guys cut off, and you just hear this kind of muffled like just
from the box.
Coming from the box.
That's clever. Great Western Chorus did a full chorus fall.
Oh my god! The next step.
That's the next step.
Yeah, because
that's evolution.
Because they had that one guy who tumbled around a bit, I think, didn't they? And then
which was a bit of a thing.
And then at the end of the song,
wait. Evolution didn't do a fall, did they?
No,
sorry, that wasn't Evolution.
Mike Potts straight over.
The fall of Evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah, full chorus fall. Maybe that's next year.
That's the missing link.
Look out. People talk about that convention a lot. That sounds like that was iconic, a historic.
Scarborough.
Yeah, Scarborough. 2006, 5, whenever it was.
I'm going to check when actually.
It's
Scatman, get on it.
Well, it's the first. I mean, I bought the After Hours Joe Braham CD. So that was a first for me. It was the first CD I bought from a Barbershop quartet.
When did Likely Lads win?
2000, I think.
Tim was there holding the baby, I remember, obviously, which is now Gio.
Maybe it's just that I spent so much time with the Brahams, and that was probably a really good convention for them. Because they're really good friends with Metropolis, I think maybe because of that. And also, if After Hours were doing a Swan, that was probably a good convention.
Right, yeah. Likely Lads won in 2000. The Scarborough convention was in 2007.
Yeah.
Ah, you were way off.
I did say 7. I did confirm it was 7 after he'd said that After Hours 1 in 6.
And After Hours did win in 2006.
So where-
So they would be performing in 2007 as the current Labs champions.
Yeah.
And Real Time had just won in
They
the
won.
States.
They won in 2005,
Five.
so they were still pretty fresh into the.
And Metropolis
the
were
touring
just
scene, I
the
guess.
also runs.
They
But
would.
really good comedy quartet.
Yeah,
out
they
at
would
the
have
time.
still been in the top 10.
Metropolis were just really popular as a show quartet, so
Yeah.
they were booked a lot to.
Because that's not really something that they carried on doing, was it? Getting 2 quartets over, and it seemed to be. There was a couple of
every now and
times.
then.
Every now and then.
Yeah,
We had
Apart from when they got 6 over.
Yeah.
40th.
2014.
That was good.
Yeah, there was one year where they had Main Street and Acoustics. I think I wasn't there. I wasn't there that year, but I think
That
that
seems
happened,
further
didn't
back
it?
for me.
Yeah,
Main Street.
I swear it wasn't.
And acoustic.
Have I made that up? I thought of Babs one year it was Main Street and Acoustics.
You're thinking Crossroads and Ringmasters.
Oh no, sorry. I say Main Street and Acoustics.
No.
I meant the Gala Lads and Chicago News.
You're thinking the Emerald Guard and Macful.
Yes, that's exactly.
That's
what
what
I'm
it is.
Big year.
Yeah.
That was
Sorry,
big.
I get confused a lot.
Yeah. Surely acoustics have never come at the same time as Main Street.
I thought I don't know what's in my head.
Do acoustics still sing with John?
Occasionally, I think
Right.
they do occasional appearances.
Have Main Street come more than once? Because they were here in 2000.
That was Silence of the Lambs
They
there
were in the game.
with a nice Chianti.
It was the pitch pipe. No, they were here the year where we came second with Little Patch of Heaven,
That was 2017.
17, because they were part of Great Western's Swan Song. They came and danced on. And acoustics weren't there then. I think you're just talking shit.
I'm just making stuff up.
Stat that over it, make your stuff. You can't just make up stories for the show.
Sorry, it's trying to be interesting. I'm worried that we're going to talk about.
This is Jonny from the shop floor. I'm stood
We're
with
just
Tim
talking shit.
Briggs from the Emerald Guard. Hello, Tim.
I'm stood here with Tim Briggs from the shop floor.
Is that Dip Van Dyke?
Yeah. Metropolis with Dick Van Dyke.
Oh yeah.
With original baritone,
Mike McGee
Mike McGee.
from Main Street.
1999.
Who, fun fact, I played with acoustics at Babs once.
Fantastic.
And I love that Dave Van Dyke. Like, I just, it makes me happy that he
He's a barbershop.
that he
Mm.
like he's probably he's probably the most famous person on the planet to whom you could say, like, do you want to sing Heart of My Heart, and he'd be able to do
And
it.
he'd do it, yeah.
Yeah.
More than Mike Rowe. Like Dick Van Dyke's an international.
Dave Van Dyke's more famous than Mike Rowe.
Yeah.
I'd heard of Dave Van Dyke before Barbershop.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of Mike Rowe.
No.
Yeah.
Although Mike Rowe, great singer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I watched that Sweet and Lovely video.
He's probably a better singer than Dave Van Dyke. to be fair.
He dropped some riot bombs in Sweet and Lovely.
Do you think Dick Van Dyke learned Hushabye Mountain in Barbershop?
No, this song was written for a film he starred in.
Which he sang it in?
Yeah.
So you don't think he'll have ever learned the Barbershop version of it?
Oh, I see what you mean. Maybe,
Just for the crack.
maybe.
Just in case.
Just for the crack.
I thought what you asked was, do you think he heard of that song first in Barbershop?
Through Barbershop.
I'm like, no, I
No.
don't.
It was written for him. Maybe he goes.
Oh, spoiler by the way, he's on the show next week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe he goes to conventions like, hey, does anybody know Hushabye Mountain? Like, do you want to sing that song? I know that song.
We know you know that sound, Dick.
We know, Dick. Come on.
Shout about the mountain.
Dick, it's been 6 months. Give it up.
A gentle breeze.
A gentle.
Oh, gentle breeze.
That's a good impression.
Hushabye Mountain.
That's right. Obviously the new logo and everything's changed with Babs. Is that, is it perfect timing with the whole change of British barbershop? We wanted to have a new feel to it. We didn't want that kind of old school kind of thought pattern, maybe.
Sort of Rotary Club logo.
Yeah, because I mean, there's and the
Things like
different
that.
approach to getting people interested.
Yeah.
It
All that
certainly
sort of
feels like they've changed a lot. Or,
Yeah, they have to.
evolved.
You have to operate in the decade you live in.
The sound then, did it start with the sound, really? The new songs, because I mean you were experimenting with Emerald, weren't you?
Well,
We've always experimented with Emerald.
I think it would be overstating it to say that the modern barbershop movement began with...
Pretty sure it did start with me. I thought it was my idea.
I thought it was your idea.
I did think it was my idea. I thought, guys, this needs to go somewhere. We're getting a bit stale here.
Well, I mean...
We sang Foolish Heart, we put that to bed, and then we cracked on.
I mean, the thing is, I guess one way of looking at it is that the period of time where barbershop songs were relegated to a certain era of songwriting was more the exception rather than the tradition we've come from and changed. Because when barbershop began, they sang songs that were older than the people who were singing, but they also sang songs of the day.
Yeah.
And that was true, I think, probably right up till, I don't know, the 60s, 50s, and this idea of the barbershop song
And the old songs.
kind of began to take form where contest material should really be a song from Tin Pan Alley or a song from the early 20th century. And there are good reasons for that, because songs from that era do barbershop very well. You know, the harmony goes around the circle of fifths like a hawk, and they're very catchy, singable melodies. And yeah, most songs from that era do barbershop very well. But I think beginning with the change to the music category, when the judging system changed from 4 systems to 3 systems, and there was a music category, I think the thinking shifted more to the idea that there's no reason why songs you sing in barbershop can't be from more recently than that. Certainly not all of them will work. I think it's probably fair to say that a smaller proportion of songs written today will barbershop well than songs written in the 1920s. But that doesn't mean that the songs that can work can't be tried out.
You won't believe how many times I email Sam saying, "Can we do this?" No.
I don't know.
he says, "Yeah, but it won't sound anything like that song." Yeah. So the idea of singing.
It would be a bad version of that song and bad barbershop.
Yeah. So this tradition that barbershop is about singing old songs wasn't true when it was the time of those songs. When it was the 20s and the 30s, you were singing songs from the 20s and the 30s.
They were doing both. They were singing old songs. They were singing Stephen Foster songs as well, but they were also singing stuff that was hot off the presses that week.
Yeah. Whereas I guess now, if you want to do a modern song now, you probably are going to pick a song from the 80s or the 90s, because there's a better chance that everyone you sing that song to will know it, and that always helps.
Or
if people know the song, they go, "Oh, I like this song."
Like a modern song, like Beatles' 8 Days a Week, written over 50 years ago in the 1960s.
Yeah. Or that contemporary uptune that we sing, "Keep the Customer
Satisfied,"
from Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to sing, if you sing a song that's really recent, there's a higher chance that no one's going to know it, so they won't like it as much as if you sang a barbershop version of a song they do know.
Yeah.
Although you do run the risk of when you barbershop a song, and people go, "Oh, I like the original."
Well,
I didn't like that.
I mean, the thing I think you have to be careful of is you've got to make sure that the reasons why the song is good are the same reasons why it's going to work well in barbershop. There are loads of songs that are fantastic that would not work well in barbershop because musically they prioritise different things. Like in barbershop, we like melody, we like interesting melody and interesting harmony and interesting words. We like they're very sort of bare bones things about a song. We like melody and harmony and chords. And if the reason why a popular song is popular is because it has a nice melody or a nice harmony, stuff like that, then it can probably work quite well. If it's a song that is popular because it plays with texture in a cool way, or it shows off the virtuosity of the singer and they're doing lots of cool runs and licks and stuff, it can still be a very good song, but it emphasises different things than we emphasise in barbershop, and it probably won't be the best fit.
Yeah.
I don't know. We Will Rock You, great song. but everyone loves it because it's got that,
Yeah.
and it's got a cool hook and it's sort of gritty and fun. But the melody is just. It's not something you can really hang chords off.
And also the hook is repeated a lot.
We
It just does that a lot.
rock you.
So your arrangement gets a bit boring. I always find that songs where there's a hook line rather than a chorus always seem to work quite well in Barbershop. Like when it's just like a verse, 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 and then you sing the title of the song, and then it's verse, 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 and then you sing the title of the song, and there's not really a chorus.
Yeah, well,
I always find that works very well.
That's how songs were written in the first half of the 20th century, and then kind of beginning with rock and roll, I guess, or in the 50s and 60s, it became more about a song having a verse and a chorus, and verse and a chorus, and that can still work, but it's but yeah, I think we more often we hear songs with that older sort of song structure, which tends to be older songs, or perhaps newer songs that are from musicals. A lot of the time, musicals keep that older structure in more.
Because they're a bit more kind of through.
Yeah.
Written.
I guess.
There's less. This is the chorus. Like McFly songs, great songs. But
hang on. Do you mean the quartet or the?
the band. They write great music, and there's lots of they use a lot of seventh chords in their songs, but they often just they're verse chorus. But there are some that work, but most of them don't, which is a shame. I love McFly.
Great band.
So when do you think?
Did you like McBusted?
I never listened. My brother really likes Mc.
That sounds like a burger.
The McBusted.
That'd be a great burger.
The McBusted.
That's a challenge.
It's just got a pair of handcuffs in between a bun.
With a Hamburglar.
Yeah, they're missing a trick with all this burglar stuff. When do you think? I think it's funny now because people talk about how modern barbershop's getting, and it's getting really jazzy, it's getting really crazy, and it's not like the good stuff. And you think back to like when Rad Midnight came about, and they were singing what people thought was really edgy then.
Oh yeah.
Now if you sing like Around Midnight chart, which you probably can't because you can't get them, because I think Wayne keeps them to Around Midnight. If you sing music that's like Around Midnight music now, that's like really solid barbershop these days, because people have taken it even further.
I mean, the sphere has widened. That's been the case for a while. I mean, like the song "Old St. Louis," you hear that and you go, "Oh, that's what could be more barbershop than that?" That's it. That was really quite edgy when it was first performed. I think less to do with the harmony and more because of the feel of the song. Like it's a sort of slow swing brush, sort of brush stroke.
Was that like the first one of them?
No, not the first one, but it was first performed in a time when you didn't really hear songs in contests that were slow tempos. Like songs in barbershop in the 70s and 80s tended to be either ad-lib ballads or really fast up tempos. You didn't really hear much in the way of moderate or slow tempo songs. It's a big shame because that's a lot of songs.
Yeah, and well, now it's very popular, thankfully.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
It's all the Emerald Guards sing. We found out very early on we weren't very good at singing ballads, so we just sang tempo ballads. We made a thing of that. We were just we were talking about secret thongs.
Secret thongs.
What if I said to you secret thongs? Does that mean anything to you?
Once I had a secret thong. No.
I call diphthongs that Americans do that we don't do naturally. Secret thongs.
Yeah, I went somewhere
You
else.
went before, yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
Like if you listen to O.C. Times singing "Hello, Let's Goodbye," at the end it's like "To the last goodbye." There's like a little mini weird American diphthong.
Good.
They're like, "Hey, how's it going? You good?
Good.
You good?"
And
So they have these secret diphthongs.
then earlier you were singing St. Louis Blues.
St. Louis Blues. Or else she would not have gone. There's like a different sound in there. Whereas we'd sing, would not have gone. So we'd just cut it. The Americans have different diphthongs that we don't use.
Do you think that's the issue? That we don't have enough
And
secret songs.
that's why we don't do as well.
So you're
VHS.
going back to them making the most of the song or the music.
No, I think that's just them.
So
It's just a different way they
Well,
say it.
you're saying we don't have enough in the way of secret thongs.
We don't have enough secret thongs.
We wear our thongs too plainly.
We're too out there.
We wear our thongs on our sleeve.
Yeah.
We need more secret thongs.
You have to keep reminding yourself that you're talking about diphthongs.
Yeah.
Diphthongs.
Diphthongs.
Do you say diphthongs or diphthongs?
I say diphthongs, even though it's spelled diphthongs.
What do you say?
Sith.
Don't answer.
Diphthongs.
Diphthong. It won like best word of the year a couple of years ago.
It's a nice word.
Lovely word. Spelt weird.
Doesn't have a diphthong in it. Does it?
Unless you're right, diphthong.
Unless you're American.
That's how you say it if you're from Kentucky.
Yeah, diphthong.
Diphthong.
Got that diphthong.
What about the secret diphthong and diphthong?
Secret thongs. I'm telling you, it's the future. Secret thongs. Every time I say it, people freak out. People think I'm joking. Or else would not have gone. That's too much. That's not. It's not a secret anymore. Going. That's not a secret thong.
Or else she would not have gone so
Yeah.
far from me.
Yeah. Then it just becomes bad singing. There's a fine line. What we're learning here,
Boop
John,
boop be doop.
is there a fine line between secret thongs and bad
How
singing?
tasty was an oil.
It's also. Do you think it's weird that there are songs that aren't contest songs, like they are, but they are barbershop songs. Songs like Java Jive and like
The Auctioneer.
Auctioneer sitting on top of the world.
Yeah.
When people say things like that's not barbershop, but then you think like about contest songs that go too far.
Exactly.
And you think, well, what is?
It is barbershop, but it's not.
It's not
It's not.
contest
It's not a contest vehicle. Yeah, exactly. Like the rules that govern what we see in contest is, that's a circle, and the word barbershop is a larger circle. I definitely agree with that.
They should have non-contest barbershop contests.
They're doing to be add-ons.
Yeah, they do.
Contest, barbershop, contests.
Where you could compete with Java Jive.
Alright, yeah.
I mean, you can now if you want. You might not score very
songs
well. but
Yeah, I
you
guess
could.
you can, yeah.
Yeah, well-arranged songs that are just really well sang.
Yeah, I would like to see that. What Sweet Adelines do, maybe not every year, but like the idea of a contest of show packages.
It's an interesting.
You do a 15-minute set. Just do your best.
People say that a lot. That they say, "Why don't we do that?" And I can't decide whether I like. Sometimes I go, "Oh yeah, I would like that." Sometimes I go, "Nah."
I wouldn't want it all the time.
I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what causes me to think it's a good idea or a bad idea. I don't know what I think about it.
I suppose really, regarding kind of the changes that Babs are making, obviously with the imaging, the image of Babs,
With the logo,
The
and the
logo.
website and all.
the team, all that kind of stuff, there's probably a fear that they don't want to go too far.
Yeah.
Because they're moving. They don't want to move too far away from the core structure of Barbershop.
But what is the core structure of Barbershop?
Well, I think it's.
Whoa.
Is that not, the polecats? You know what I mean? It's like where it
No,
began.
like the podcasts.
For me, it's like that was the first education.
But-
Yeah, but that's it. They were like a guide, right?
Barbershop's about 100 years older than most of the podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, but
I always thought that the polecats were like a guide to like, you should learn to sing these because
Oh, I see what you mean. Right. Yeah,
you should learn to sing these because they're
yeah. Like
you'll hear what barbershop is. if you
yeah,
learn
like
these
like
songs.
if you learn
like
these
they were. I think
songs.
that they were a program devised to codify what
Yeah.
they thought typified
and like you said earlier about Dick Van Dyke,
normal barbershop.
you could walk up to Dick Van Dyke and sing "Heart of My Heart, let's
Yeah.
go."
Yeah.
So
I think I would like the show package thing because you just get to hear lots more music. But like I said, I wouldn't want it all the time. But like when you go to a barbershop show, if you go to a barbershop show, you probably only hear 2 or 3 contest barbershop songs.
I think our expectations of that changed a lot in like what a show is. I think.
I guess back in like 80s, 90s, you would hear loads of barbershop contest songs.
Yeah. The proportion of non-contestable stuff in shows has gotten only larger. And I think nowadays you're right. Yeah, you probably would only hear maybe a couple of songs you'd sing in a contest.
If Hallmark did a show, we'd sing one contest song, and it probably wouldn't be a song that we'd sung in contest. It would just be one that's in our rep that we like.
That you could sing in contest.
Like Till There Was You or something.
Yeah, I suppose repertoire. Going back to when I was a DJ, and I was doing weddings and birthdays and things like that. There was a certain pattern of music that you'd play to get people up, dancing, and etc. And it was the draw of that. And we talk about that. We touch on that when we're putting together show packages.
Hang on. So what you're saying is Hallmark should be learning the cha-cha slide.
I was thinking Diana Ross chain reaction, but
yeah.
You're thinking we need to look into BPMs and how you slightly increase the BPMs of each song until
foot stomping starts.
Yeah, by the last song.
I think
by Bridge Over Troubled Water.
And then
I think we do that anyway.
I'll lay me down. Oh, taxi ride.
We speed up anyway. I think we tend to do that anyway.
Yeah, we do like an entire DJ set in every
one song.
In every song we sing. Starts out.
It's micro.
About 100 BPM. By the end of the song, we're about 120. Perfect dancing tempo.
I think Landudno was a good example of putting together 5 songs that each one built the audience wanting more.
In a different way. Was that Labs?
Yeah.
What are we saying
Just
again?
in 2019.
We did You're a Heavenly Thing.
Yeah.
Started strong. Started strong. Hello everyone. Then we did My Cup Runneth Over with Love. And then
Nice.
Nearer I Got to Thee, and then Bridge. It just
4 songs.
So it kind of goes.
No, it's 5 songs.
It goes like boom.
Bless you. Bless you. Kind of just used it.
And the way that mini standing ovations became half audience standing ovations to be full audience standing ovation after each.
Right.
So there was a build to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Structure.
That's just show management. Yeah. Like you want to have some sense of the flow and which songs are going to be the most crowd pleasing and
which ones give them a break.
Yeah, and you want to have an opener and a big finish.
So that is kind of a skill, a very small aspect to it, but you'd see that if people were preparing these show sets. Well, you see it in Sweet Adelines.
Yeah.
You can feel the ones where they know exactly how, like when Roninger only sang like 3 songs, I think, when they won last year or the year before.
They did a massive medley of Swedish pop charts, didn't they?
But like,
was that just ABBA then?
It was. I don't think the whole set was ABBA. It was Sweden, right?
It was. I think it was pop songs that had Swedish artists or Swedish writers. So it was ABBA. It was Max Martin, who writes stuff for Britney Spears and stuff like that. Swedish House Mafia.
But because they have to do this theme thing, right? There has to be a theme to the set. Whereas I don't necessarily think that is as important. It's part of their contest, so that's what they do. If we were to do it, I'd maybe just want people to put on a show and be able to do what they can, because often the themes can be a bit strange. Whereas that is like such an obvious thing. They're from Sweden. It did this theme about Sweden. It was really lovely. It was really heartwarming. It was very emotional. It was obviously Britt Helen's last one as well. So there was that. When people do like a Wizard of Oz theme, that works really well. But then you can get some really obscure ones. Or when it's just a bit blasé, like the theme is love. And then it's like, this is a bit tenuous.
There are scenarios where it feels like people are bending over backwards
for the
to try and create a theme where maybe there wasn't one in the first place. Or
so, I mean, you can have, when we all went to Holland, and the Emerald Guard went, it felt like the first time the Guard had ever had like one kind of thing running through the show, And that one thing was that we didn't let Andy talk or do solos. But we managed to string that through the entire show, and it was the first time I think we ever felt like we did a show package.
You delivered a concept.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And people commented on that, like Paul Caseman said, like that felt really different to what we've done before.
People remember stuff like that.
But is that a theme, or is it just this, or is it just one joke?
I think it's just a bit.
It's just a bit through the whole thing. But it felt like it really linked everything together. And then in the final song where he does have this little mini solo, where he just goes ba ba da ba doo wah, ba 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 da ba doo wah. It's like the biggest thing ever, and he got this big reaction.
Yeah.
And we never talked about that really. We never really planned that whole thing. It just felt like that was where the show was going. And it came to that bit and it was brilliant.
Maybe that's more the time in which you've been together and how comfortable you are in each other's own abilities on stage. You know, you'd done a lot by that point. So
we're coming up on 10 years.
Wow.
We're
Really? No, like you're like 8.
I say coming up.
It's 3.
We're
It's definitely
We're
closer
closer
to 10.
we're closer to 10 than we are 2. Is what I'm saying.
I feel like to say
we're 8.
I feel like to say coming up in 10 years, you've got to be past 9 years.
9 and a bit. All right. F you.
You guys you prelims in 2012, right? Because you won the first time you were in the cycle, didn't you?
Yeah.
So,
Bournemouth.
Yeah, we smashed it. We were so good. We won the first time. We were so good.
How long had you existed prior to that prelims?
Not a full year. So, yeah.
You were so thin then.
6 months or something.
So you're not running, I think.
What do you mean? No, it's still on.
So you're about 8.5 years.
Yeah. So when I say we're coming up, I say that because we have actually talked about it. Because the next time we sing at Babs might actually be our 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
We're holding it together as long as possible, really, because we're just waiting for Monkey Magic to break up so that we can take that crown.
Oh yeah.
Because I think they're the.
That can't still be a thing, surely.
They still sing together.
They still well, not right now, but they still
Not
do.
right now.
They still do gigs and
Yeah, they
shows.
do get together, don't they?
So we're waiting for what's this? Driver support. Don't need that. Maybe I do. We're waiting for them to break up so that we can claim the title. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we're I mean, Duncan doesn't know that we've got a separate chat without Duncan. We're trying to sabotage Monkey Magic somehow, so that we can be the longest standing active quartet.
So when he brings up the fact that he's got a gig with Monkey Magic, is it always?
It's heart wrenching every time.
Oh really? Do you still do that?
You still do that with them? Really? After all this, you still with them?
You want to think about maybe it's coming to the end now, surely, isn't it, Duncan?
I think we were always just surprised that Duncan would consider singing with us 3 after singing with 3 musicians like them.
It
always felt like
handsome,
I reckon it felt like a bit of fun for Duncan, then we won and he was trapped. I'm here now. There's all these things you have to do after you
So
win.
you're saying,
God.
you're saying when you actually won, it was just bad timing?
For Duncan, yeah.
Terrible timing.
It was a big shot for the 3 of us, but Duncan, he'd been there, done it. Two time.
Yeah.
A 2-time.
A double Goldie.
Double Goldie.
Double gold.
Yeah, good times. So yeah, it's taken us 8.5 years, and we did a good show last year. that's what I'm saying.
What are we talking about? Repertoire.
Repertoire.
The
Shows.
modernisation of Barbershop.
The modernisation of Barbershop, which might become doing show sets as
About baritone
Yeah, I
sounds.
think it kind of
Yeah.
led to themes and what we were and how an audience enjoyed. Or it felt like they enjoyed the Land of No Show for us.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what people rail against might not necessarily be a wider variety in song. I think part of it is also to do in that I think nowadays you have a wider variety of who's prepared the song going on stage, because I think arranging is more popular as just a thing you can do in barbershop. I think if you go back 30, 40 years, it was maybe more. I wasn't there, but I get the feeling it was maybe more
Jonny
the case.
was.
It was maybe more the case that
Was it black and white?
that you had a dozen or so established arrangers, and pretty much everyone kind of went to them for stuff.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I think it's more the culture where more people feel like they want to give it a go, or write stuff for their own group, and I think that's really good. I think it's a very healthy thing.
And that comes back to there being more musical geeks coming into it.
Yeah, but I think the side effect is that there is a, I think it's the speaking from personal experience, the odds are higher that you can hear stuff on a Barbershop stage which maybe is a bit of a clunker, or has been arranged by someone who's newer and isn't quite as firm in what they're doing. So there's more of a natural variety in quality of arrangement on the stage, I think. And even if the quality is sometimes less good, I think that's a good thing. I think if you want to modernise and keep going, if you want things to stick to the wall, you have to allow the freedom for people to throw stuff at the wall, whatever that stuff might be.
What a hot take that was.
I think.
I think you're right.
So I think.
And then people get upset, like, wow,
They're like, what was that terrible thing? You're like,
this is all crap.
Yeah, that was an experiment.
Like, look at all this crap people are singing, but then still, like, Sound Hypothesis win with Irish. Which Irish song did they sing?
There's a little shamrock.
There's a little shamrock.
4-leaf clover.
With 4-leaf clover.
Yeah.
Barbershop still wins.
And
most of the time.
And if someone sings something on a stage and it isn't very good and people don't like it, it won't get sung in the future.
Yeah. That's okay.
There is a Darwinism at play here, I guess.
Mm. Yeah.
The arrangements you hear sung nowadays are sung because they're great and people love them and
they're really good
and because they stuck to the wall.
Yeah, like we sang Love Walked In, We Just Won with Love Walked In. That was
about a year and a half
6 years ago. I mean, Ambassadors won with that in like 2005.
They didn't win with it. They sang it in 2008 when they got the silver medal.
Okay.
So we made it golden.
I guess so.
Yeah, technically, yeah. Yeah, we definitely sang it way better than them.
Oh yeah,
way better. So yeah, it's arrangements like that.
Inspiration to
arrangements like that stick around.
It was all the secret thongs we threw in.
Yeah, all them secret. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys didn't know you were singing them. But
I've walked you.
But yeah, like if something like Ambassador sings that, and then Lemon Squeezy sang that, put it on their album, so it sticks around because it's good, and then we pick it up, and then it dies a bit.
Yeah,
gets a bad rap.
Yeah, typically like, don't want to touch that.
I'm not sure I like that song anymore.
Yeah, before I heard that song in Barbershop, I knew it as a high low song.
I've not heard that.
It's very different, less dramatic, more chilled out. As is often the case when comparing songs to their outside barbershop comparisons. We tend to we like melodrama in Barbershop.
We do. We like drama and we like emotion. We like expressing that with our arms in weird ways. It's a very strange art form that we do, really.
Yeah, it's like when Runninger won years gone. They for their contest ballad they did "Thank You for the Music," which when you hear it sung by ABBA, it's a touching song, but it's quite sort of like da, 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 da. It's not overly dramatic. It's just quite nice, but to make it a powerful vehicle in Barbershop, you have to imbue it with some sense of drama and some sense of build and climax.
Put some stuff in. And David's good at that.
Firstly, David.
His right.
Firstly, David. Yeah.
Firstly, his right.
Yes.
David, right. You could. Come on.
Yeah. Firstly, David's
Is this too fast for you, John?
Firstly, David's very good at that, and also, but also as well as arranging it, he had, or maybe in Running, I don't know whose idea it was. Either he or Runninger saw that it was a song that you could do that to without it sounding silly. There are some songs that are chilled out that would sound silly if you made them dramatic, but that's a song that has lyrical content and sort of emotional content that was there to tap into.
So
you can make it big and dramatic without making it sound contrived.
Yeah. So we've just started learning "You Are So Beautiful," right? And we that's a very simple song. You are so beautiful to me, but there's a imported bridge into that arrangement that gets pretty massive. And I'll never forget, Steve, when we were looking at singing this song, which was actually a long time ago with Hallmark, and we decided against it for then, and now we're doing it now. We were in Andy Allen's old flat, and Steve Holden was there, and we listened to this song, and Steve said something like, it's quite often that I'm compelled to scream in Janet's face just how beautiful she is. he's like, I'm sure, Andy, you have the same feelings about Laura. Laura, you are so beautiful. And he was right, because that is a really simple song, and in the middle, they are just like,
you're a guiding light.
It's really loud and it's really dramatic, and that's been input to make it more barbershop melodramatic, right?
Yeah, the Joe Cocker version is he gets a bit shouty.
That's just Joe.
That's just Joe Cocker.
Yeah.
He has no choice.
I think that's God,
So,
God
yeah,
gave him his.
There is that. The
tools.
barbershoppers love that. They love those screaming, loud gestures of love and emotion.
Yeah.
With arms.
With arms.
And chords.
Yeah.
Love with arms and chords.
Arms and chords.
Yeah, it's almost as if they're sat there when they're actually viewing it. They're sat there going, God, yes!
They do.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel right now. Thank you, Hallmark of Harmony.
You have seen within my soul.
I've literally just wet myself with emotion.
And I still feel beautiful. Yes, I am. You say that? Yes, I am.
I am beautiful to you.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so he just didn't want to do it. I think we did My Romance instead. And at the time, I think we also had insider knowledge that Mubs were going to sing You Are So Beautiful that year, and we didn't want to sing the same song as them, so we went with...
Yeah, that's probably a good idea in hindsight.
Yeah. Because they would have been better than us.
No, yeah.
So we chose the grander vehicle of My Romance. And it paid
I mean,
off.
it's longer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it works, right? The longer the ballad.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for next year.
Soliloquy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ooh. Cool.
So that's been the shop floor.
Yeah.
I've been Jonny.
No, come back, Johnny.
I hate long goodbyes.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to stop.
Thanks for listening to us talk at each other for the last little while.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That's pretty good, actually.
Again, I feel bad for anyone from that course. This happens to be watching this pod. They probably aren't.
No one's
But-
going to watch this.
No.